Hello, I'm Asad Ahmed. As the clean-up operation on the River Wandle continues following a large diesel spill from a bus garage in South London, Transport for London says it's conducting 2 investigations into what's happened. There's also a call for a more coordinated response from government to get to the bottom of what's happened. Here's Jessica Ewer.
It's been called an environmental disaster. Now, 5 days since thousands of litres of diesel spilled into the River Wandle from a bus depot in Thornton Heath. Local experts say the impact on wildlife could undo decades of conservation work. Today, as oil is still seen on the surface, Ellie reflects on years of artwork featuring the river.
I'm so inspired by the Wandle. It's just devastating feeling that the local community and the wildlife are suffering for someone else's negligence. You can see the kind of oil slick colours on the water. Obviously the worry for the environment is that those particles of diesel will be dissipating into the water, and although the surface of the water might look cleaner, it means it is kind of sinking to the bottom.
Clean-up efforts are ongoing at the Watermeads Nature Reserve, and locals have ventured down to assess the damage.
The Wandle River, my favourite river, it is quite barrenness now of the wildlife that you'd often see. Yeah, and I see at points that they've been desperately trying to clear this village.
To date, a lot of work has gone into restoring life into the river, which in the 60s was called biologically dead. Today, the smell of diesel is still really strong in the air, and you can see the water boons are still on the surface of the river to catch the worst of the diesel. Local MP Bobby Dean has been calling for fines for whoever is responsible.
I wrote to the Environment Secretary, Steve Reed, because I want him to help us coordinate the investigation into this. We've got various stakeholders involved, all with different things to answer questions on. We've got Thames Water, we've got Environment Agency, we've got Transport for London, and they're all doing their own internal investigations, but I'd prefer it if they didn't mark their own homework, if somehow we could bring the accountability process into a central area so we can really hold each of these bodies to account.
Transport for London has confirmed 2 separate investigations are underway into what it's calling a completely unacceptable event. The legacy of this spillage could be felt for years to come. Jessica Ewer, BBC London.
Well, the London Museum of Water and Steam has been awarded a grant of over £2.5 million to carry out repairs and continue what's said to be its excellent work. The relatively small museum in Brentford sits on the site of a former pumping station. Alpa Patel has been to take a look.
A glimpse into London's past. But over the last few decades, part of the London Museum of Water and Steam has fallen into disrepair. This money also raises awareness about London's history with clean water and how that came about from the 1830s onwards.
The problem of dirty water in London as it was growing was massive. Cholera and typhoid were endemic across the city. They were killing thousands of people. And this was London's answer. So this is about a story that's arguably never been more relevant than it is today.
So what will over £2.6 million of government cash mean for the museum?
The funding will mean that this building that is slowly falling into disrepair can be renovated. It's one of our prized assets. These are 2 of the largest Cornish engines in the world that are working. We're prestigiously proud of them, but you can see from the surroundings that actually partly about maintenance backlogs because of the expense of managing a building like this, but also because actually the climate has changed. The kind of weather systems that we get now, this building isn't able to cope with it anymore. And so we will be able to completely renovate this. The roof will come off, we'll put a new roof back on, protecting all the walls and therefore the engines inside.
But small museums like this that showcase London's history cannot rely on funding alone. Alpa Patel, BBC London, Kew Bridge.
Criminals found with electronic devices used in around 60% of London car thefts could soon face up to 5 years in jail under new legislation. The new laws plan to ban the possession, sale and distribution of gadgets like signal jammers similar to this device, which was seized by the Met Police. Right now, prosecution requires proof of criminal use, but the new legislation will mean owners must provide a legitimate reason for possession. An investigation into the cause of 2 sinkholes in Surrey has been delayed because the area is not deemed stable enough. Residents from 30 properties were evacuated after a sinkhole appeared in Godstone a week ago. It is not yet known when residents will be able to return to their homes. A section of the M25 remains closed as part of a multi-million-pound project. All slip roads at junction 10 of the M25 in Wisley closed on Friday night. They are set to reopen tomorrow morning. National Highways have been working at the junction for months in order to add extra lanes in the area. A woman from Wimbledon is preparing to take on an extraordinary challenge in the Sahara Desert to raise money for brain tumour research. Denise Sefton is training for the 4-day trek, which will take place in March. She's dedicating her effort to her nephew, Theo Howden, who died in 2017 from a brain tumour. The challenge will mean long days in extreme heat, but Denise says it's worth it if it means saving lives.
No family should have to go through what my family has gone through, and no child should have to go through that. He just wanted to play. He loved dinosaurs and Power Rangers, and he wanted to be able to go to nursery. He never made it to nursery because of all of his treatment. So I'm just really passionate about raising money to fund brain tumour research, because they really are the leading people in trying to fund research into finding a cure.